You guys want to hear something crazy? I still haven't got my stimulus check. So Godzilla versus Kong is the next movie in the Monsterverse, the kaiju cinematic universe, if you will. It dropped yesterday on HBO Max and in some theaters, not all of them. And as a huge fan of Godzilla, and as someone who actually liked the King Kong movies, I was looking forward to this movie. The original Godzilla versus Kong is like one of those cult movie. Like I remember watching it, but when the monsters they were fighting, it looks cool and all. As a kid, you just kind of turn your brain on and watch the movie, to kind of enjoy the action. But it wasn't a good movie. I hope I didn't offend anybody saying that. I mean, those movies they're not made to win any Oscar, to win any award. They're just made to entertain. But with the technology nowadays, man, I was really looking forward to see how the filmmakers are gonna update that fight, make it more exciting, bigger, better, louder. First, can we talk about that runtime real quick? An hour and 53 minutes, including credits. That is crazy, guys. That is crazy. Because modern blockbusters, they're so long. They're such long movies. 2 hours at least. We got Endgame, that was 3 hours. We got Zack Snyder's Justice League, that was 4 hours. So, when the movie came out and it was only an hour and 53 minutes, I was really surprised. I'm like, man, I hope it wasn't, studio interference. I hope it wasn't, we try to cut the movie down so we make more money, yada yada yada. Thankfully, it wasn't one of those. The movie is short because it doesn't try to be anything more than a Godzilla versus Kong movie. The audience, they show up to see Godzilla. They show up to see King Kong. They show up to see the kaiju. This is one of those movies that is just exactly what it needed to be. Nothing more, nothing less. Of course, you have to have the human characters there. You gotta have someone for the audience to attach to. Someone to drive the story forward. Just a human voice to explain what is going on to us. These movies, they wouldn't function without human characters. And some of you might say, oh, the human characters, they're such a distraction. They didn't need to be there. They're useless. And, I get it. You're there to see Godzilla fighting Kong. But listen, if they just give you a movie of two CGI kaiju fighting one another, it wouldn't be a live action movie, right? It would be animated. Look what happened to The Lion King, right? There was this whole debate of, is it live action? Is it animated? It's so dumb. Is there a way to make them more interesting? Sure, in the right hands, with the right writers and directors, you could make a monster movie where the human is just as interesting as the monsters. That is not the case in Godzilla vs. Kong, but it is fine. You know why? Because I'm just so used to it by now. I'm not saying that they're bad. They're not bad characters. I mean, Millie Bobby Brown, her character, what was his name? Maddie, like Madison. She got a whole lot more to do in this movie. She didn't just run around crying like the King of the Monsters. Team up with one of her friends in school and a podcaster, a conspiracy theory podcaster. So these three, they team up and they sort of investigate why Godzilla is out there hurting people, out there, destroying cities. And then another set of human characters are the scientists and, the people who study Kong. And there's a little kid there who's deaf. So she talked to Kong using sign language. I thought that was really cool. And this little kid right here is actually my favorite human character in the Monsterverse, because we actually got someone who is emotionally connected to the kaiju. They're not just running from them. They're not just shooting at them. They're not just studying them from distant and, explaining that to the audience. This is the one human character that sort of, connected the two worlds, the kaiju and the human world. And I thought they did that really well. There's some really emotional scenes in the movie involving the two of them. And I thought that was done really well, right? So in the future, more of that and less of, the military and the scientists and, all those stereotypical human characters in a monster movie. It's pretty boring by now, right? We'll have characters that have some sort of emotional stake in the movie. And how can we talk about Godzilla versus Kong without talking about the fight itself and the visual and the stunning spectacle that comes with it, right? Whoever the DP and the cinematographer of this movie are, they're about to get real busy. They're about to get a whole lot of phone calls, a whole lot of emails, from producer asking them to shoot their movie because, oh my god, because man, they frame and shot the shit out of this movie. Some of these shots are just so goddamn beautiful. As a kaiju fan, I was looking at it and I was tearing up. It was so good, right? The colors popping, the kaiju looking strong and big and epic, and just the scale of it, man. These shots, they're just so good. And when the giant monsters are on screen and they're fighting one another, they're doing their signature stuff. Like, King Kong start pumping his chest, Godzilla with his roar, and his dorsal fins start glowing up, and it's so cool. And just looking at it, it made me smile, man. Like the little kid in me couldn't stop smiling. Some complaint I do have, nitpick here and there. Junkie XL, who did the score for Zack Snyder Justice League, the real Justice League, also did the score for this movie, which is really cool. And I thought his score was pretty good, except for Godzilla's score. In the last movie, the Godzilla theme it was perfect, right? I love it. For whatever reason, they changed it up a bit. It sounds similar, like the dun 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 dun, but they changed it up a bit, just a little bit different. So you notice the difference, but it still sounds similar. Like it's really weird. Like the Godzilla fan in me was listening to that score, and I was like I kind of recognize this score, but it is different at the same time. It was really weird. I don't know if this is spoiler. I'm gonna try to keep the spoiler minimal, but there is another monster in the movie. I'm not gonna say who it is, but there's another one in the movie. And let me just say that I'm not actually a fan of the design. There's a much better, like the old movies, they did it better, right? The old movies with the rubber suit, somehow they did it better. Here with the CGI, with the technology, they came up with something that was a little I don't know, a little ugly, right? It sounds kind of mean, but I don't know. I was just looking at it. I was like, no, I don't like it. It's personal taste, but I don't like it, right? But all of that aside, Godzilla versus Kong, when it comes to spectacle, action, beautiful imagery, they deliver 100%. When the kaijus, when they're on screen fighting one another, right? When they're just doing their thing, it's just the most fun that I've had watching a movie in a very long time. In very typical kaiju movie fashion, the human story not that interesting. There are some human characters that you could kind of connect to, emotionally. And I wouldn't mind seeing them again in future movies, if they do decide to bring them back. I do believe that in the right hands, you could have a Godzilla movie or a King Kong movie where the human characters are as interesting, if not more interesting, than the monsters themselves, than the kaiju themselves, right? But that is very much not the case with Godzilla versus Kong, which is fine. I've been watching these movies for years, especially Godzilla movies, and very rarely do I see a movie where the human characters, where I actually was invested in their story. Very rarely. It happened, but not a whole lot. But still, a very enjoyable movie to watch. If you have a chance to watch this movie in theater, do it, but do it safely, right? Godzilla vs. Kong is everything it needed to be. Nothing more, nothing less. And I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Alright, if you got a chance to watch Godzilla vs. Kong, let me know in the comment section how you feel about it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you happy with the winner of the fight? If you enjoy my review, hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this. Next week, I'm going to do a video on the future of the Monsterverse and what I think they should do with the, the future movies and, what the story should be. And, yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun video to make. And with that being said, stay lit, stay smooth, stay motivated. I'll see you soon.